I showed you this vest on the knit along and it's very pretty. And this is a double seat stitch. And we do have a tutorial on that, but we're going to do it anyway. And this is a number 5 knitting yarn. And I used a 10.5 US knitting needles, which would be about a 7mm. So very easy, because you see you don't have to worry about the collar. You knit it straight, you don't have to worry about anything up here. And what you do with this is that you want to take your measurement if you don't want to follow the number, because I have 81 stitches here, and this measures 42 inches around, and it's a size large. It's mine anyway. And this has 15.5 stitches for every 4 inches. So you need to count to make your swatch and count how many stitches you have for 4 inches. And if you want to follow the instructions and it doesn't give you the right amount, you need to change your needles. But I'm going to show you how to do the pattern yourself, because this is a learning thing. And so what you want to do is measure yourself, and let's get to the numbers. So here I have my sheet of paper and I made my design. And I have 81 stitches there, but this is the way I came up with that math. So I have that for every 15.5 stitches, that gives me 4 inches. So I have stitches on this side and I have inches on this side. So these three I have for sure. So once I made my swatch, I know that 15 stitches gives me 4 inches. It could be 20, it can be 16, it can be any number here. And then you measure how many stitches gives you 4 inches. Now, I measured myself, and half of 42 around my belly is 21. So I have 21 here because I want to know how many stitches I need for the back. So now you are going to multiply the two crossed given numbers, which will be 15.5 times 21. So now, once you have that, you multiply 15.5 times 21, and it's 325.5. Once you have that number, you're going to divide that number between the leftover number that you have on your cross, which would be the 4. So you multiply the two crossed given numbers and you divide it by the leftover number, which will be a 4, and that gives you 81 stitches. 81 stitches is what you need in order to make the back. Now, we do want an odd number of stitches, and I will explain that soon. So this is what it is about the numbers. Do your swatch, measure it, measure yourself, and come up with the amount of stitches that you need. Okay, so the way you do this stitch is that make believe that you just casted on your stitches, and they're right there on your needle. Any way you want to cast on is okay. So I have very few stitches here because in the big needle, so you can see it better. So row number 1, you're going to knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl the whole row, and then you are going to end with a knit because you have an odd number of stitches. So you end with a knit. Row number 2, you are going to purl and knit, purl, and knit the whole row. Purl, knit, and you're going to end with a purl. Okay, so row number 3, you are going to start with a purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and you end with a purl. And row number 4, you are going to start with a knit, and then purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and you end with a knit. So I did this with large needles, but this is the way it looks like if I use thinner yarn with thinner needles. So let's see. You can see how that looks, and it's a very pretty stitch, very elegant. So let's see about the sleeves also. What you want to do for the armholes is that you want to, I knitted 48 rows from bottom to the armhole, and then on row 49 you can make more rows if you want to, so just make sure that you write down how many rows you knitted. And then on row 49 and 50 I take off 5 stitches on this side and 5 stitches on the other side. And then on row 51 I take 1 stitch on one side and 1 stitch on the other when I go, and 1 stitch and 1 stitch on each side when I come back. But I will explain that whenever I get there, because we're going to be making a video. So, but I did want to show you what this is like. Make your little piece of paper, writing down that first you take off 5, then 2, then 2, then 1, 1, 1, because I took off 12 stitches in total in order to have this look. That you can take off more, you can take off less, but for 81 stitches that you have in the back, this is more or less the amount of stitches you want to take off, which is 12. Okay, now for the armholes, we're going to take off 5 on each side. So this is a number 1 row, so I'm going to knit and purl, take off 1, knit, take off 2, purl, that is the 3rd, knit, that is the 4th, and purl, that would be the 5th stitch. Now make sure that the next stitch is going to be a knit and then a purl, a knit, a purl, and you continue until you reach the other side. Okay, on the next row, which is a number 2 row, we are going to purl 1, knit 1, take off, and that would be the 1, and then purl, that's 2, and then knit that's 3, purl, that's 4, and knit, that's 5. So now once you take off your 5, the next stitch is going to be purl, knit, purl, knit all the way to the end. Okay, on row number 3 of the sleeve you want to knit 1 and then knit these 2 stitches together. And now be aware, because the next stitch needs to be a purl, we want to follow the pattern and knit, purl, knit, purl, and we go all the way to the other side, because before we finish this row we need to take off another stitch. So when we have 3 left, let's see, let's keep going. That's a purl, and now I have these 3 left. I'm going to slide, slide, and knit, and then knit the last one. And the reason is that we don't want to have bumpy edges. So row number 4 of the sleeve, we want to purl 1, purl these 2 stitches together, and then keep with a purl and a knit, a purl, a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, until we have 3 stitches left. We want to purl those 2 stitches together and purl the last one. So this is row number 5 of the sleeve, and what you want to do is that you want to knit 1 and knit these 2 stitches together, and then the next one is going to be a knit and a purl, and we keep going like this until we have 3 left. So knit and purl, knit and purl, knit. Okay, now we have 3 left. We're going to slide, slide, and knit these 2 stitches and knit the last one. Okay, row number 6 of the sleeve, you're going to purl 1 and then you're going to purl these 2 stitches together, and then there is a knit, a purl, knit, purl until you get to the other side, until you have 3 left. So let's see, we have 3 left. We're going to purl these 2 stitches together and then purl the last one. Okay. Okay, so row number 7, we're going to do the same. We're going to knit 1 and then knit these 2 stitches together, and then we need to purl and knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl until we have 3 left. Slide, slide, knit, and then knit the last one. So row number 8, you are going to purl, purl, and then continue with that same stitching, which is knit and purl, knit and purl, knit and purl, knit and purl the last 2 stitches. So this is row number 9. We didn't take off at all on row number 8. We just followed the last 2. So row number 9, you're going to knit 1, knit 2 together, and then purl, knit, purl, knit the whole row until you have 3 left, and then slide, slide, knit, and knit the last one. And then row number 10 is the same as row number 8. You're going to only purl 2, and then keep doing your stitch, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and purl the last 2. This is row number 11. Of course, I have a very small swatch because I need to do this so it doesn't take forever. So row number 11, you're going to knit 1, knit 2 together, and then purl, knit the whole row, purl, knit, whole row, until you have your 3 last stitches. Slide, slide, and knit the last one. And then row 12, you are going to purl, purl, and then knit, purl, the whole row until you have your last 2. And the last 2 you're going to purl. So I just show you how to take off for the sleeves, and this is the way they look. And so it's 12 rows for the sleeves. So that will be the back, and you just bind off straight when you have 96 rows, which is the same amount you have here. You have 48 rows from the bottom to the sleeve, and then you have the same amount of rows from the beginning of the takeoff for the sleeve to the shoulder. So it's the same amount of rows, or so did I did. If you want to make your vest longer, you would have to count more rows at the bottom, but the same at the top, because you don't want a huge sleeve. So the 2 fronts are going to be half of what you did for the back. So the 2 fronts are, of course, you're going to do taking off for the sleeves on one side and nothing on the other side. And then for the right side, you're going to do the same, but just keep going straight, because you don't have to do anything for the neck. For the neck, it's just going to fold like this, and that is it. Okay, we do have a tutorial on how to sew the sides. Please look it up, and it's on YouTube, but I'm still going to show you here. So you go with one of your tails, you go into that first knot on the other side, and then you go into that same space and into the middle of the next knot. So you skip one and you go into the next one, and then you go in this same side where you took off, and you go in there and skip that one and go into the middle of the next knot right in there, and then you go to the other side, go in the same spot where you took off, and skip one and go into the middle of that knot. So it's from knot to knot. So here we have it, from here to the next knot, and from here you skip one and you go to the next knot, and then you go from here to the middle of the next knot, and like that you don't have anything looking funny. So from here to here, and then from here to the next knot, and that's how you sew it, and like that you have a very nice edge. And that's the reason why you knit the first stitch and the last stitch the same way, so like that you can, when you put them together, it looks like one same stitch. Let me show you how it is here. See, on the sides you can't see where the seam is because it looks like, let's see where it is, it's right in there, so you can't see it. Let me see if okay, it's in there, but of course it looks like one single piece, so that's the way it's supposed to look. Okay, so once you sew the sides and the shoulders, we have tutorials for that. We're going to go with how to make that pretty edge there. And what you want to do is that you want to work your first single crochet on the wrong side of your work. So what you want to do is at the bottom of the vest, make one single crochet on each of the stitches at the bottom, and then once you get on the corner here, so let's get one on each. So let's get this in there, and once you get to the corner you want to make 3 single crochets into that same space. So you do 1, 2 and 3. So now on the second one, on the number 2, pass a piece of yarn of another color, so like that you know that that is the middle one, because you're going to be using it for the next row. Okay, so now we have it there, and you are going to continue counting 3 and skip 1. So we have 1 and 2 and 3, and then skip 1 stitch, and then you go again, 1, 2, 3, and skip 1 row, that stitch there. So again you go 1, 2, 3 and skip 1. So I usually go on the knots, so you know it's easy to see them. Let's see if I can get this a little bit closer. Yep. So that is 1, 2, 3 and skip 1 row and go 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so you go like that the whole row, and then with a contrasting color, what you want to do is then go on the right side of your work and go and do a single crochet on each one of those stitches that you did. So let's make a little knot there, and go and single crochet on each one of those. And once we get to the corner, you're going to see why we wanted to signal that one. So you're going to single crochet on each one of those. On this I used 3 different yarns, so I have 3 different, because I love texture, so I used 3 different. So you can use whatever you have left in your stack and your set, you know, the yarn that you have left over, because we all do. So save your yarn, because you never know when you're going to need it for a pretty edge. So once you get to that corner there, here we are, that is the middle one. Take that piece of string off, and that is where you're going to make 3 more. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So now you continue until you reach, you know, do the whole row. I mean, not the whole row, but everything around. The second row is all like this. So let's go, and we're going to leave it there. Okay, so let's leave it there, and now we're going to get rid of one of the yarns, and I'm going to use only these 2. So what you want to do here is that you chain 1 and then go back to the last one that you single crocheted and take them off. So go back to the one before, bring your yarn up and take it off, bring it up and yarn over, take it off, go back, bring your yarn up, take it off, and that's the way you do it the whole row. So all around, take it off. So go to the one behind, bring it up. It's called reverse single crochet. Bring it up, take it off, bring it up, take it off, bring it up. You don't have to do 3 at the edge, because this thing is very flexible. It's not necessary. So bring it up, take it off, bring it up, take it off, up and off, bring it out, yarn over, take them off, and look how pretty, what a pretty edge that gives you. See? Let me do a few more here so you can see how pretty that looks. And then, in order to make your loops for the buttons, because I have the buttons here, and I don't know if you want this kind of button or any other kind, but you still have to make your little loops there. And what you want to do is just chain the amount of chains you need for your button for it to go through, and then bring it back to the same spot, and then continue. Bring it up and take it off, bring it up and take it off, bring it up and take it off, and like that you have your loop for the button there, and it still looks pretty. You can make it as big as you want to, but you know, that's the way to do it. Okay, so that's it, and we'll be seeing you with a new project soon. Thank you very much for watching, and please share us with your friends and like our page and subscribe, and thank you, and I will be seeing you soon.